All right, so let's see. Okay, we're going. We're live. I think we're live. I haven't told anyone about the stream yet, so no one knows. It's kind of awkward. I never know how to start these things, you know? So all the lights are on in here? Yeah, it's a little dark. Never know how to start these things. Do you start now? Do you wait until people get in here? Life is full of tough decisions. All right, there. It's tweeted so people know about it. Let's see, anyone in chat yet? No one's in chat yet. Um, I'm just gonna work on stuff because people will get in here and they'll ask questions. They'll want to know what we're working on, understandably. But for those of you that are watching a recording of this, we are going to start work on Lunar Saloon's next product. I should have planned this a lot more than I have. Let's see. Jeff, looks like you're in chat. Hello. Okay, so what are we working on? We're working on a set of space-focused alphabet flashcards. You'll see here, let's see, 90 degrees clockwise. I have scans of a couple, image rotate 90 degrees clockwise. I have scans of a couple of existing alphabet flashcards. And it's kind of the start of every project is finding out what already exists out there. And looking at the things that you like about it and maybe also the things that you don't like about it. Let's expand this canvas some so I can turn these up right here. Oh God, I gotta rotate these things every which way. Thanks. I was well past. A haircut was long overdue. Let's say that. And I figured today launching the Patreon, doing a stream, everything. Since this will be the first stream that's archived as part of that Patreon, I figured that I should maybe look somewhat presentable. Yeah. And there's a bunch of stuff that I need to do to let everyone know about the Patreon. But I guess I can just start talking about it. I launched Patreon today. I need to set Nightbot up so that it reminds people about the Patreon. But I launched Patreon today, so I don't need to rely on getting partnered with Twitch to essentially get subscriptions. And part of the Patreon is you can either give money just to support the stream, support what I'm doing, support me. You can do all of that and get access to an archive of the stream that I'll be hosting on YouTube. You can basically get a print subscription where I'm going to make little prints of every month. And so 12 prints a year. That should be fun. I'm looking forward to that. Because that's new and scary, and I think it'll be good. And yeah, that's the gist of it. But like I said, I need to set up Nightbot to remind everyone. I'm put a little thing below the stream. There are things I need to do, things I wanted to do, but if I did all of them before the stream, then we wouldn't have started streaming until much later, you know? Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and grab a levels move here. Let's see. And just try to get rid of some of that background white. I just want a nice thing to look at that doesn't look all cut together. But, you know, it is all cut together, so there's that. Okay. This one needs the most love. So I'm nesting levels move in here. So a nested layer will only affect the layer that it's nested into. When you make one of those, when you make a new layer, you hold Option. And, well, I say that and then it didn't work. Because, oh, here you go. You've used previous layer to create clipping mask. So you'll see this little arrow over here that indicates that it'll only affect that layer. So you see, woo, only affects that layer. Wonderful. And today will definitely be a bring your own music day because I have headphones on. So only I can hear the music. You can't even hear the music through my mic. I don't think Nightbot will not work unless there is more chat activity. It needs multiple messages before auto posting. I'm just typing in the chat to activate Nightbot. So let's see here. This guy. Genie! It's been too long! Also, hello, Fatty Lumps and Sean. That sounded really lackluster and shitty. Genie! And you other two. Alright, you all. Hey, look, Sean, you summoned Nightbot. Yeah, I am gonna start streaming regularly again. I think the big change this time is that there is going to be, I'm going to give days that I will stream, and I'll pretty much stream on the afternoon of those days. So it won't be at a set time, I think, because the set time is what made it hard last time. I streamed. Last time I streamed regularly. Can we rename? cut off the mullet. There's no mullet. My cat is just like in the other room howling, and I have no idea why. The window's open. It's nice here. It's like in the 50s. Might as well be summer. This hot stream content. All right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this, or I'm just going to screen grab it here. Jeannie, I will answer your question in just a second. If I don't focus on one thing at a time here, then I'm not going to get anything done. What? All right. So I did change my camera freaks out every time I turn this thing on. I don't know what it is. I think it's just one of these weird things with the program that I'm using. I think a lot of kinks are still being worked out. So Jeannie, you asked about Patreon. I think one of my big hesitations with Patreon was that, well, biggest reservation is I didn't really know much about it, and I didn't really feel comfortable using something that I didn't know much about. My understanding before going through the process of setting it up was that it was made so that people would donate per video, which is really hard to apply to a stream because there's a lot of them. So, 3 streams a week, like, I don't know, it seemed excessive, but you can donate per month. And the other part of the Patreon that I was a little hesitant about was that I didn't know what I would offer for patrons. And so that's why there are 3 things tied to the Patreon. One is the stream archive, where I'll be backing up all the streams to YouTube. The other is a Dropbox folder that will have all of the it'll have files from stuff that I work on stream. It's not going to have Lunar Saloon products or client products, obviously, client stuff, because that stuff belongs to the clients. But it will have the robot illustration that I made last week and stuff like that, moving forward. And then the third one is a print subscription, which is loosely tied to the stream, but not really. I mean, some of the prints that I'll be sending out won't be made on the stream. Some of them might be of existing artwork. I know a lot of people really like the Game Boy and Game Gear illustrations that I did. Here, I'll bring those up so we have something to look at. A lot of people liked this thing, so that might be a good print, So stuff like that. Oh, there's a breeze coming in through the window, and it feels fantastic. It really feels fantastic. So that's what ultimately led me to set up a Patreon. And it's it has really nothing to do with Lunar Saloon. It's just me personally. But I guess just because I own Lunar Saloon, I guess everything has something to do with it, but I'm keeping the two pretty separate. This is just me Um, I want to figure out how to rename Nightbot. Does anyone know? Does anyone that uses this thing know? I probably will clean up my artboards. So you can see here, I already started this document a while ago, of figuring out the layout for these things, for these cards. I used Kennedy Space Center because it was at the time the longest name. So I figured if I design the cards to work with the longest name, then it will inevitably work with the shortest name. We've since replaced Kennedy Space Center with Kepler, because if you're making a thing for children, then only one word in Kennedy Space Center starts with a K. So trying to keep it as simple as possible. Hello, Zippy. Yeah, I would suggest, Jeannie, just like looking around Patreon and seeing what other people are offering. That might give you some ideas. But, and you don't have to offer a ton of stuff, you know? Let's see. Hold on, I'm editing Nightbot things. Thanks. Yeah, the Patreon cats ended up being my series of 5 things. So, looking at cards that exist already, this card on the right probably skews a little younger than we want Astro Alphabet to skew. But there's something to be said for just having a handful of elements. This one is actually printed by the printer that we're working with, Carlson Print Group, to make Astro Alphabet. And this one has a lot of things that I like in it. These little colors here, these line up with the cards. So like the left side of Y will also have a brown piece here, so that you know they go together. And I like that they highlight the letter. And just like this simple design decision, smart as hell to me. And rounding, making one of the corners more rounded than all the others, it makes it so that you know if any of the cards are upside down. So they could upside down or flip the wrong way in the deck. So everything stays aligned. It's brilliant. It's great. It's simple. So some aspect like that will probably be carrying over into these flashcards. But, so when I was doing like the robot illustration, where that robot? Where you at, robot? Let's search for him. Robot. Boy, that's a robot that I tried to make 4 years ago. You can see why I didn't carry on with that much further. But I was doing this robot because I was trying to figure out figures. Because I was just thinking about the astronaut card in this. But then as I thought about it more, the more I realized that most of these cards are going to be have like a bunch of space in them. So I had to figure out how to illustrate space, empty space, more than figures. So I've kind of been barking up the wrong tree, I guess, this whole time. I'll read to you all some of the and I should also note that this card does something that we had been planning to do, and we were glad to see that there's already a precedent for this, which is have information about what's on the front of the card, on the back of the card, because that gives parents something to talk about with the kids and extends the card's usefulness from learning the ABCs to learning reading and being interested in space and wanting to know more about space. So kind of prolongs the life of the product, so it's not just useful. It's not just like a pair of baby shoes that's only good for when the baby is a baby. I don't know anything about babies. When the baby is 3 to 6 months. Do you buy shoes for babies that are 3 to 6 months? I don't know. Do you? Is that something you do? Does anyone know? One thing that drives me crazy about this card is, God, what is that? Why does it run off the border? Why does it run so close to the border? It's terrible. They can't walk. Yes, I'm sure about that. They can't walk. But people still buy baby shoes, right? Still buy shoes. So some of the cards, like B is for black hole, C is for constellation, D is for Deimos, It's one of Mars' 2 moons. E is for Earth. G is for galaxy. H is for heat shield. J is for Jupiter. N is for NASA. R is for rings. S is for solar system. V is for Venus. X is for X-ray. So stuff like that. S is not for Sputnik. S is for solar system. Because it has 2 S's, right? What's better than 1 S? What's better than a thing with 1 S? 2 S's. Solar system. That kid's going to know S before it knows any of these other things. So I thought today we might start just playing around with Earth and seeing what Earth looks like. And I'm going to make an artboard at the size that the printer quoted us at. So another thing to be determined is if these things are going to be another Kickstarter project. We don't know. .25 by 2.75 or 75. That's you. Is this just the height window in Illustrator weird for any of you? It's super weird for me and it doesn't work half the time and it makes me crazy. 3 1/8. 1/8 in decimal form is 0.125, I think. No, damn it. I made it the wrong... Can I rotate this thing? Can I rotate an artboard? I never tried. Oh, I can do that. I can set it to portrait. Okay, so we're gonna say maybe you can type 3 1/8. Let's see, which of these did I like? I'm just gonna copy one of these so we just have something to work with. Did I leave any of the type live on these things? I outlined it all like an idiot. Of course I did. Of course you did, Alex. So I'll give it a 1/4 inch radius or border. I know my words. I know my words. Don't ever tell me I don't know my words. I know my words. How big? Oh, the letters on this are huge. My letters will not be that big. I'm just going to use this shell that I made. I don't know if this is going to be a final thing. What typeface did I use just as a placeholder there? Museo Sans Rounded. I have also been toying with the idea of making my own type for this. Obviously, you can't do anything this ridiculous like with a Q. I completely missed Adam's message that 3 to 6 year olds do in fact wear shoes. Thank you for clarifying that 10 minutes ago. So you can't do anything this cute with the letters because the goal is to help a kid learn the alphabet. You can't have it learning ridiculous shit like this, right? It's bad. I'm setting the baby up to fail. I'm gonna make it a fail baby. Thanks, Adam, and thank you for being a patron. You're one of the first ones. I appreciated it. I still appreciate it. Earth. Welcome to Earth. Let's see, how big are the words on these? How big is the word on this? Because that's a pretty good... I'm going to go grab this ring of things to show you, because it's a nice thing. So, like I said, here's this. Let me look at this thing so I can see. So, this is, it's like, it comes on a little ring, which is nice. Like I said, it skews a little younger than ours are going to. But it's nice because it ensures that they're never out of order. And on the front, they have illustrations with just the letter and the word. And then on the back, they have giant letters. Giant letters. I kind of like the giant letters, but... are there any particular... Hello, Jeff. Jeff, also one of the early patrons. Thank you very much, buddy. Any particular artists, designers, creators that inspire you? I don't know. So I feel like most of the people that inspired me were people that I found out about in college. So people like Stefan Sagmeister, James Victore, David Carson, people like that. I don't look at a whole lot of people's work aside from what shows up in my Twitter feed, mostly because I don't want to be inadvertently inspired too much by other people's work. I feel like that will only lead to bad things and unoriginal work, which would bum me out. I wonder how big that... Let's see. But I would say that most of the stuff that I find inspiration from are things like video games and comic books, and books, straight up books that I read, and the stuff that I interact with day to day is where probably most inspiration comes from. Chuck Close has a quote that something like, inspiration is for amateurs, professionals just show up and work. Which it's a little harsh. It's a little harsh. But generally, I agree. L is for lion. Is that the A that's being taught in schools? So, if they're still teaching cursive in school, no. But it's also the A that's on all of these cards and stuff. That I like, all the cards that I found all have these dudes. And this one doesn't even have lowercase A's, but yeah, I don't know. Genie, yes, I am going to try making my own type. I've done some type before, but it has been, God, Earth, what a weird looking word. But it has been more ornamental type, not really useful. I'm like slowly making an alphabet for all of the woodland maps that I use, stuff like the Tristram map. I made some pretty ornamental, useless type for the title. And then I used it again on Link's house. It's not the original file, but you can see it here. It's the same type from the Tristram map. Just I made a few more characters, rounded it out more. Look, I made the S. I made the S in both of these. But I'll have to make it again if I make my own type. But yeah, this A would need some love. And I don't know that is why I'm not sure if I'm going to ultimately make my own type here. The breeze from the window feels so good on my freshly cut head. Earth. So let's see, if I followed suit with these things, and they would all have a rounded corner, and then one corner would be aggressively rounded, right? Aggressively. You look at it and you could say, that is an aggressively rounded corner. Indeed. I don't know that it will be rounded, or if it will be a little more angular. But we'll just start with the rounded thing, just to do it. And we'll make it just a slightly off color white so I can see it. There is no music. Let's bring your own music. I can't listen to music if I'm going to upload these to YouTube now, just because YouTube will block stuff for having copyright things. Actually, I can just make that white and then put a thing behind it that is gray. And I'm just roughing all of this out right now. None of this is final. I just need something to work on. Yeah, this way you can listen to your own music. No offense taken. I'm going to drink some water. Or just the sultry sounds of me. That too. Let's see. I'm Googling rename Nightbot. I'm just listening to my own music. You all just can't hear it. Luke is right. I do believe I've already tested that. Let's see. If that is rounded, then that would have to be rounded. And that just looks weird as hell, right? So we're already finding some problems with a border. Yeah, we'll have to think about that, because that just looks bad. So let's just start illustrating our Earth here. Ooh, at this like little horizon at the bottom, it's like you're looking at Earth from the moon, but you won't be, because I think I'll also illustrate the moon. Carly Rae is really good. Let's see. So how is everyone today? How are you all today? Are you doing well? I hope you're doing well. And if you're not doing well, I hope things go better. There's also the question of how accurate do I want to make the Earth? We can start with making it not vary and go from there, right? I'm sketching the Earth here. I like all the planets to have faces on them, so I have to figure out where on the planet it would have a face. See, here's a quick sketch. Let's see. See, can you see that? Can you see that little face? Can you see a little Earth with a little face on it? Oh, I don't think it'll ever be my job until we have to get a lot more patrons for it to be my job. But the goal of Patreon is to make it more part of my job, maybe. Far apart eyes makes it cute, Casey. Okay, so let's see, we'll just go off what is on the sketch here. This is for babies. Babies don't know what the Earth looks like. I guess it's not really for babies. It's for kids who might know what the Earth looks like. I'll be ridiculed by children who have a better geographical understanding of the world than me. I accept that. I accept this future. Ooh. And a handy Andy. Thanks for the follow. A handy Andy. Crap, what happened to the... Why does it... Okay. Copy that. Paste it. Florida always looks phallic. Just looks like the dick it is. Sorry if there are any Floridians. Handy Andy, you followed, and I just immediately made a dick joke. I'm sorry. It doesn't look like Earth at all. That's okay. We're just kind of messing around today. Getting a feel for things. Florida. Wait, what if... No, I was going to say, what if its facial features are made out of... water, but... Does the camera's frame rate look really low to you all? Because it looks really low to me in my preview window, and I don't know how accurate that is. We'll give the Earth red eyes. Huh, okay. That's good. It's also good that you all are not very far behind me here. That Patreon message is a little long. I'm still learning. Look at little buddies. They're little buddies. I'm not gonna make him not a demon. No text-to-speech donations. I actually got to get rid of the donations and make that thing only be Patreon. I hope you didn't donate, Casey. If you did, I feel bad. You probably just donated $1 from the Pope or something. The anime eyes. Oh, really? That's interesting. I wonder what kind of integration it will have. I'm sorry to disappoint you, Casey. Let's see where I made a bunch of. I don't like those stars. I've decided. I made that file a long time ago, and I've decided that I don't like those stars. So make a box, go to path, add anchor points. Indy Mike, hello. Welcome to the party, pal. Yeah, happy Earth. That is an appropriate emoticon. Emote. Let's just do a thing. I'm just going to do a Google image search for space illustration. Space illustration. Let's see how other people fill the void of space in their work. Gonna have shooting stars. Gonna have a lot of stars. The tough thing about stars for me, is like I base a lot of my illustration on geometry, and so everything is at a particular angle in a particular place. And so when I just have stars that are just everywhere, it's difficult for me because there's a lot of optical balancing, and it's not that I don't enjoy doing it, but I feel like it clashes too much with the rest of the decisions I make when I'm illustrating. Those decisions to randomly place things don't have the same like thought out underpinnings that the rest of the illustration work does. So the Patreon thing, yeah, Jeff said it. You can donate, offer, contribute, however much or little you want, and if you contribute at certain points, then you get things, like access to a YouTube archive, access to a Dropbox folder with some of the files that I make, stuff like that. I don't know how you would make these little clouds. It's like clusters, star cloud clusters. Oh, this is kind of fun. Have little clouds and stuff around. You could put satellites. Don't want to make the illustrations too like. There's a difference between just like filler stuff like stars and shooting stars and things like that. But if you load it up with too many identifiable things, then I feel like it will draw the attention away from the main subject, in this case Earth. Like, there's a card for constellations. I don't know how that'll work. I'll just throw a bunch. throw a bunch of stars on here. God, is that Godzilla? I can't read that. Godzilla? I'm real bad. Do I still want to do a gradient here? And if I do a gradient, I think I want to do the grain stuff. Those of you that have been here for a while know what the grain stuff is. Those of you that haven't, understandably, don't know what the hell I'm talking about. So, I'll do a demonstration of the grain stuff. So, you can do your gradients. Here, I'll do the gradient a couple different ways here. Sometimes in my illustrations, I just use smooth gradients. I gotta change this to be RGB. And I also make the other side of the gradient the same color, and I just set that side to 0 opacity. So you get something like this. But I like when the gradients have like a little texture. Yep, gradients also don't print awesome, which is something else that I have to consider. But I would do a rectangle and then a mask and place a bunch of gradient layers in them. I think I got too far away from what we were talking about, and I don't know what you're referencing. I'm sorry, G. So the printer that I'm working with, Carlson Print Group, they actually they printed a lot of stuff from my childhood. They printed the 95 Fleer Ultra set of X-Men, which you can see here. I have the official cover for and everything because 9-year-old Alex was awesome. But part of what they printed, and I don't think any of this is going to come across in that little camera, but they printed these like really like yeah, look at how shiny those are. What I'm trying to say is that as far as gradients and stuff go, if I have faith that any printer is going to be able to do it, it's Carlson. And this is stuff like, once I get something that I like, once I get a direction that I like, then I will email it to them and say, hey, are there any foreseeable problems with this? Can you print this? Can you not? So on and so forth. Gradients like this would be fun. It's just kind of pastel-y colors. Actually, Carlson Print Group also printed I don't know if you remember, what was it, last year? DC did like custom special edition lenticular covers that were super cool. And Carlson also handled some of that printing. So they know their shit. Okay, so you have a gradient like this, and I like when gradients have a little more texture. I just like adding texture to the illustration. So what I do is I make a gradient, make it a default gradient, and then I go up here to Effect, Texture, Grain. And you can see here, there are different kinds of grains: stippled, horizontal, contrasty. Because why not? Name it anything, why not contrasty? But I use stippled. And you can kind of adjust all of this stuff. Adjust the intensity. You can make it a super intense grain. You can make it a super contrasted grain. So you can do that. Okay, we'll say that's good for these purposes. And so then what I do is I put it on top of whatever. Okay, let's say I want this to be red or pink. That's pink. We'll call that pink. And so what I'll do is I'll put this on top of that. And with both of them selected, I go over here to transparency and I make a mask. And it's important that the gradient is on top. Again, that is, make sure this is, your gradient is on top of it. Select both of them, and over your transparency panel, make mask. And you can invert that mask, so this is a little more representative of what I had. And you can put it behind stuff. And you can change the color of that gradient any old way. Yeah, see, that texture is so nice. Nice. It's nice. And thus concludes our grainy texture demo. Yeah, those lighter blobs in that illustration are nice. Let's see what happens when that is a purple. And it sits on magnifico. So then at that point, is this color that purple? No, again, this is, I'm just kind of messing around and getting a feel for how this stuff might work. And then the other thing that I did on these are the Patreon reward tiers. These are the illustrations I made for them. And so things that I liked about this is oh, it's just a nice glow. It's a nice soft glow. What can I say? There's nothing else to say about it. I can over talk anything. Over talk? Is that a word? Is that a phrase? Over talk? But when I was making the star, I thought, oh, I can use that for the stars in this card. Oh God, I can't sing along to the music that I'm listening to because, well, one, I'm a terrible singer. One, and two, you can't hear what I'm listening to. So, oh yeah, look at that Earth. It's got some atmosphere. Hot dog. All right. I just keep getting whiffs of my hair because it has that, like, you know, like when you get your hair cut and it just has that like salon-y smell. It's like such a nice smell. My hair smells good right now. Hey, Mike. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. I thought so. Here's a question I had. One, Illustrator renders these terribly, so it has like a ring on the outside that doesn't actually exist. But so here's, is it weird if I thank Patreon supporters and like the offline image for this? It's like brought to you by viewers like you thing. Because I don't want to give out people's full names because people don't know. I'm not going to make that judgment call for people whether they want people to know their full names. But I'm going to edit the grain on this. But do you think like first name basis would be okay? Like Indie Mike, if I just said Mike. Thank you, Mike. If I just said thank you, Adam. Right? That's not weird, right? Is that weird? I hope that's not weird. But I've done weird things unintentionally before. So, you know. See this ring that it shows? Like, that's just a weird rendering thing. I mean, if I were to say, like, Jeff, only Jeff would know who Jeff is, right? There's nothing weird about. I'm digging the grain, friends. Yeah, like I feel like, yeah, like last initial is a little more identifying, whereas the first name is just, you know. Skull F. I would absolutely put your name as Skull F. Also, hello. Did not see you had arrived. The name's F. Skull F. It's about as light as you can make that thing, and I don't know that that's not. It's not light enough. It needs to be lighter. There we go. Have I printed stuff with this much grain texture before? I'm thinking. I'm thinking. I don't think I have. But I don't know that there'd be any problems. I'm thinking. I mean, it's no different than like adding grain. Like you used to add grain all the time to movie posters. And that printed fine, and that was probably a lot more. It's about the same detail level as this. Fatty L. head smells so good. Wouldn't the stars without glow be more subtle? Maybe, but they also might not look. I don't know. I like the glowy stars. Let's see. They have to be all different sizes. Can I ask a quick question? When I try to do the grain texture, I get a gradient on top of the texture. If you get it, I can't listen to music while I think about this. Use the. Is it because you didn't have the... I think that if you don't have the white and the black part of that default gradient at 100%, that it will try to fade from 100 to 0, and it'll replicate that fade on the... Yes, it'll replicate that fade on the grain texture. I think that's what's happening. Oh, but Jeannie says different. Did you see this rock, paper, scissors bomb game Pentagram did? I did not. So that's cool. Those illustrations are cool. I like that. The scissors. Making the hands out of those hard shapes is nice. That's cool. I like that. Jessica, thank you for supporting my Patreon. You wonderful, wonderful lady. Let's see. Let's see here. And the other thing is how many... I mean, I am used to making physical stuff. I think just because a lot of stuff that I make on here does not show up physically. I've made a lot of printed stuff in the past. Was there a pause between wonderful and lady? Let's see. What? I'm just gonna mess around and just put a bunch of stars around here and see what happens. Let's try putting some Milky Way in the background. I'm sorry. I was sorry as soon as I said it. Oh, Milky Way, you're so milky. I am reading the third book in the Remembrance of Earth's Past series. In China, they call the Milky Way the Silver River, which is kind of awesome. And I did not know that. Oh my god, I'm not double clicking on this. You found a deck of space cards? That's awesome. Also, hello, JP. Space is the place. It's the place where cool things happen in space. Sir Wiggins, were you able to get the thing working? The gradient? The gradient? No, take it back. Take it back, Clag Hamster. What happens if I just make this grainy? That's interesting. Whenever I mess with the UI stuff in Photoshop, I always try to Command Z because I'm never really sure what exactly I did to mess it up. But it doesn't work, unfortunately. So if you apply the grain to just a shape, it's just going to make it black and white. I see. So let's do the grain thing again. Ready, Jeff? Ready? We're gonna do it again because I have to do it again. So I want that shape to be white. So we're gonna make this the default gradient, only linear. So here we got our linear gradient. We're going to apply the grain to it. Grain hath been applied. As you can see here, we have 100% white, 100% black. And I'm going to place it on top of the color I want the grain to be. And then highlight both of them, select both. And over in our transparency panel, we're going to hit make mask and invert mask. And yeah, and then after you do that, you can select the mask over here, since that's the part that's a gradient, and you can continue to like fiddle and mess with it. And like, I don't want maybe I do want. You can also select the shape, and then go in and adjust the grain more and see that change reflected back in this. But So this is all stuff you can do. This is all within your power. And then the mistake I always make is I leave the mask selected, and then I'm like, where'd all my layers go? But you just got to click on this other shape. And voila. It worked! Glorious! JP, you have to make a mask because when you apply the grain filter to a gradient that has colors in it, let's see here. Yeah, we'll just stick with one color. It turns it black and white. So in order to get the grains and the textures, you have to make the color that you want. Let's see. Oh, I just want it to be a flat color. Oh my God, stop. Please stop. I don't. Just a flat color, please. Okay. And then put a gradient on top of it. I always use the default one just because it's easier to see the values. And then apply the grain to that, and then select both of them and make the mask. So if you want color gradients, that's what you have to do to get the texture. That's why. Yeah, because that's what I was saying when I do gradients on other things, regular gradients, Jeff, that's when I do the 100% to 0%. That's why it's so dark in here. It's because that light wasn't on. Whoops! Yeah. More and more, I've tried to get away from using screen and multiply layers on stuff. Just because I feel like it inevitably leads to a problem later on. Whether with printing or getting a file ready for print, stuff like that. I think, I know what it was. It was I was using screen and multiply a lot when I was making silkscreen posters. And then I would have to convert it to actually make it a solid shape to get it ready for the printer. Stuff like that is what I was running into problems with. That's what I was running into problems with. Let's make some more milk for the whey. Thanks, Clegg. My hairstylist is the best. We had, let's see, last time I went there, I'd been there once before, and we didn't realize how big dorks we were. And it turns out that he has played the Diablo series since he was a kid. He loves sci-fi books. And we rolled like the same type of character in Diablo 2. And so we bonded forever over that. And then this time, since the last time I went, I've been playing a little bit of Total War Warhammer. And it turns out that he has been playing the Total War games forever. He loves Total War, but he hasn't played Warhammer yet. So we had a good conversation about that. So yeah, my hair dude is the best hair dude. Hey Dina. Apply green. Apply green. I grew up with a male hairstylist. His name was Mr. Pretty. It's like the best name that you could have in that profession, right? Mr. Pretty. Oh crap, I moved the mask over there. Do it all the time. So at this point, so this is the point where it's like, I don't know that it's, most of this illustration is just kind of an experiment to start messing around, start actually getting something down, because at this point it's all just been in here, and I hadn't tried to like actually execute anything. So, but I still don't know what the design of all the elements around it are going to be yet. And I don't want to get too much into the illustrations because elements within the illustration are going to be dependent on what is framing the illustration. So I don't want to like get in too deep because of that. So this is mostly just like a style exploration. Exploration. We're exploring together. And we will make this a radial gradient. It works just as well with radial gradients. See, we'll make it like the Earth is being lit up by the moon, right? Not accurate, but you're just gonna be dumb babies looking at these cards, right? Dumb babies don't know. They're just dumb babies. Let's see. Mr. Pretty sounds like a cat's name. Oh, that's pretty good. Speaking of, my idiot cat was wandering around here looking for attention. I did not give him any, so he left. Invert mask. What do you want, idiot baby cat? Sure, my cards will make them smart babies. The way things are going, my cards will be more responsible for them being smart babies than our public school system. Okay. Let's see. You could probably automate the effect with an action, right? You are right. You are right. Jeannie tried to get me on that action train a long time ago, and I got a few set up. I did it. It was for the IGN project. I got a few actions set up so that I could make things isometric perspective more quickly. Yeah, an action would work really well for this. Good thinking. So, I mean, this is... Oh, God, no. So I think this is a pretty good start for this. Like, figuring out where we might go with it. It's fuzzy. It's fuzzy. I like that it's fuzzy. Fuzziness of the grain kind of serves to cut some of the harshness of the vector shapes, which is interesting. Sometimes it's a little weird, and I ran into this with like the cat illustrations. When you have those really hard shapes against, like right here, like I feel like this is a little awkward to have these next to the grain. So it's kind of part of it that I haven't figured out yet. Dolder. We've gone over the grain a few times. We'll do it one last time. You know what? Here's what I'm gonna do. I am going to explain this very thoroughly and very well one final time, and then I can take that clip and I can put it on Twitter to titilize people. It's what they're missing from joining us, right? So I'm going to do it. We're going to do one legit thing. And then we'll probably call it. We'll call it. All right. You ready? Ready? All right. We're going to open up a new thing because I don't want... See, I'm going to be kind of coy with Twitter. And I'm not really going to tell them what this project is, what this product is. This is for you all, the people that tune in here. So... Twitter doesn't get to know. You all get to know. Okay, you ready? Tiddleize. I think it's tiddly. And I said tiddle. But tiddleize is way cooler because it has a Z in it. You see? You Z? Oh, I'm so sorry. Okay. All right, here we go. We got the giggles out. We're making this. Sorry, Dolder. Okay. So okay. Okay. So I'm still laughing about easy. So stupid. Oh, okay. All right. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to make a gradient. You guys aren't even ready for this gradient. All right. So, to make the gradients have a grain in Illustrator, this is what I do. I make a box. Make a box with a gradient, right? So you got your gradient, but you want that gradient to have a color. So if you try to give it a color, there, red. You want a nice red gradient, don't you? Yeah. Okay. So red gradient, and then you go to texture, because you want to give it that grainy texture, right? Okay, that's looking good. Oh, it turned it black and white. It's terrible. Okay, so what you actually want to do to get a red grainy texture, is you want to make a black and white texture grainy. So you go through that same process, go to texture, grain, boom. And you want to make sure that the grain type is stippled here. You can do other ones, but I haven't really gotten a lot of good results from those. So stippled, and you can adjust the contrast and intensity. You know, if you want a really intense grain, you got it. So you got your thing, and you just want if you want a red gradient, oh no, what are you doing? No. We're going to make a box the same size. How's that? Same size box. So there you got your red gradient. So then what you do is you copy the grainy gradient. You want to make sure that it is on top of, see it on top of that red thing there? On top of there, you select both of them. And then in your transparency palette, which if you don't have it over there, you can find it in window, win help. You can find it in transparency right there. And then with both of them selected, you hit make mask. And now you have a nice red gradient. And you can select the mask here and you can adjust that gradient. But you can see that the white is actually transparent. You can see it there. So that's how you get a nice red gradient if you want a grainy gradient, like the types that I use in a lot of my illustrations. And you can still, even with that, you can just select, oh my God, you can just select the grain in here and you can still adjust it and it will affect the mask if you don't hit cancel. This was supposed to be my recorded demonstration for this, to show people how good I am at explaining things, and I explained it terribly. Anyway. That's how you do it, daughter. You asked. You didn't know what you were asking for. You won't ever ask me for anything ever again. And I'm sorry. Okay, so I think that's going to be it for today. This will be the first stream that will be archived on YouTube for Patreon supporters. So if you are a patron there, I still have to figure out whether I post it in the community or if I post a secret post just for patron people with a link to that YouTube thing, but we're going to figure that out, aren't we? And by we, I mean me. Or someone will tell me how to do it. I don't know how to do makeup. I can't do makeup tutorials. Maybe Megs can do a makeup tutorial. Fatty Lumps, you son of a bitch. I am Will Harding. Thank you. I appreciate it. All right, everyone, that's going to close it out for today's stream. Again, I launched my Patreon account today. I still don't know how to say it. My Patreon. I launched my Patreon. I have a Patreon page. I have a Patreon place. I have a Patreon something. And if you want to check that out, I can link it here in chat. Patreon.com/ what is it? /Alex Grinling. It's my name. Right there. That's the Patreon account. So you can support me there if you so wish. If not, that's fine. So thanks, everyone. I will see you back here tomorrow. Because why not? We're on a roll. So I'll see you here tomorrow. Thanks, everyone, for stopping by. Have a great rest of your day. Or evening. Or morning. Wherever you are. All right, I'm just ending it. I just have to stop. Thank you. Bye. Oh, I have to stop the stream.